Alrighty, folks, welcome on in. It is your boys, SoTeeko and Vancele. This is the Archives Podcast, episode 45. And before we just got going there, we started talking about Tales of the Underworld. And Vancele was going on a nice, smooth rhetoric about Cad Bane and his very fleshed out story leading up to the Clone Wars.
Yes, which you haven't seen yet.
Which I have not seen yet. I've seen the Ventress episodes. I think the first two, or at least the first episode, minimum. But yeah, welcome on back, guys. It's been a really nice week. It's been a very conversational week. Just so much going on. So many cool opinions being shared. In today's episode, we were talking about, like we parlayed last week, Legends versus canon. And you can kind of tell by the title of the podcast episode. Kyle Katarn versus Cassian Andor. Welcome on in, Vancele. How's your week been?
Long and ongoing.
I feel like
Okay.
you've have you had time to press pause recently?
That pause button's broken. I don't have time to fix it.
Man, that's tough. That's why you need to get a cool sponsor. So if you guys want to sponsor this podcast, reach out at SoTeeko, at Star Wars TAP. We had a sponsor for the Galactic Hot Takes. But yeah, if you guys want to work together, reach out and we'll figure it out. But today we're going to be talking about some Legends characters and their overall, canon counterpart or their canon replacement in some aspects. Going to talk a little bit about the book. Going to talk a little bit about something that I'm doing a whole video on, and that is what comes now. And then we're going to wrap her up. So to get started, Vancele, one thing that I was talking to Steve about, shout out Steve, is just the overall importance, as well as just how much that fans have connected to video game characters with Star Wars. And I was wondering from you, what was your first experience with Star Wars video games? And what was the first game? Who was the first character that you really, really fucked with? I'm curious.
I think my first Star Wars video game experience was Super Star Wars on the Super Nintendo.
Super Star Wars?
Yeah, that's Super Star. Well, anything on the Super Nintendo was called Super. So you had like Super Mario Brothers, Super Star Wars, Super Empire Strikes Back, Super Return. Like everything was just called Super on the Super Nintendo. So a little bit before your time. But those were just you're going through the original trilogy missions, with the original trilogy cast. Nothing that really grabbed me any capacity, because it's these are movies I grew up with. These are movies that, when the re-release happened in the 90s, I watched them a bunch of times. But in terms of diving into Star Wars universe, stuff that's outside the movies, it was Shadows of the Empire on Nintendo 64. Dash Rendar I thought was probably one of the coolest characters. And I didn't get the director's cut, the full version. I had the normal version when I first had it.
I played Shadows of the Empire.
You played it recently. Yeah, he played it recently. It was fun to
Yeah,
watch.
we're still playing it. Like I haven't beaten it yet, but
It's
how did you like Dash Rendar?
I loved him. I thought he was cool. I honestly I thought he was a cooler version of Han Solo than Han Solo almost.
Yeah, because in
Um,
that realm, in that aspect, he kind of is
like I get it. It's like when you're playing it as a kid, it's like okay, you see what they're going for. His ship looks very similar to the Falcon. It's not the Falcon. It's like the Falcon's cousin. You know what I
hmm
mean? Um, he, I like that he had a droid. I thought his droid was super cool. Um, his backstory is cool. It's really cool how he just interacts with all these main story characters, kind of just like dips in and out. Um, and then, flash forward and another like, oh God, I don't know what the years were when they came out, but probably like another 10 years, next generation of consoles. Kyle Katarn. Well, that's not true. Kyle Katarn was in the PC games around when Shadows of the Empire came out, but Kyle Katarn really got flushed out in the Jedi Knight games, and I thought Kyle was like the coolest Jedi because he was so edgy and super just kind of like not gonna play by the rules kind of a guy, like too cool for school kind of vibes. Um, and then I think the biggest game, and I actually still impressed that I was able to play this at the age I played it, but I think it was like 10 or 11. And I played Knights of the Old Republic. And that kind of just blew my mind out of the water with Star Wars. And every
yeah.
character in that game was like amazing. But
I
playing that game at such a young age and understanding the mechanics and everything, like it took me a while because I remember a lot of my friends at the time, like, episode one just came out, right? We're waiting for episode two to be released, and we see the trailer for this Knights of the Republic game. Every single one of my friends returned the game. They hated
that's
it because
crazy.
they're like the gameplay is slow, like you got to push buttons, you got to do a lot of reading, like people just stand like no, like we didn't, I mean, we're all 10 or 11 whatever, you know what I mean, like we don't understand, like a 10-year-old should not understand RPGs and role like Dungeons and Dragons mechanics, but because it was Star Wars and I was so interested, I gave it a chance. I think it took me over a year to beat it my first time because like I said, I mean, I'm like I'm like second or third grade playing that game, right? But because it was Star Wars and because I was so interested in the world building, so interested in the characters, I stuck through it. And then I don't know, I honestly couldn't tell you how many times I've beaten that game since. Like I love that game.
I just started playing a dark side run of it last night. I'm very excited
It's
for that.
it's wild how many different like paths you can take through a game. It's so fun.
Yeah, I'm so hyped. That's gonna be so sick. And I think we had pretty similar first games, honestly, because my first game ever, I didn't know it was what it was at the time, but it was Jedi Knight Academy.
Okay, yeah, that's the third one. Yeah,
And that was the first,
that's a
my
great game.
my very first game. I didn't beat it or anything. We rented it, so
Mm-hmm.
obviously I only had it for at that point, like you could rent games and have them for a week. It was pretty cool, but um,
Yep.
I rented it, and it was mainly my oldest brother playing it, so I was kind of just
Mm-hmm.
watching him. But yeah, it was so sick because it was just so it was like wow, like this is what we pretend that we're doing when we're playing outside, and this is
I mean, that
in a
game's still
video
played
game.
today. It's still such a great game. Like, I don't understand the quality of games we had then versus now, what happened, but like, those games still hold up.
They do hold up. I do like the games now, though. I'm not gonna lie. Like I was just telling Steve because he was watching me play it. If I could have these stories just with modern gameplay, I would be all over it. But we're
It just
just
sucks how long it takes for games to come out, and we have less variety.
yeah,
So
and
it's
we're
like,
just not getting that
if the
many
game's,
games.
yeah, that's what I mean. Like, if a game comes out and it sucks, it's like, well, shit. Because like back in like I call it the golden age of Star Wars games, you had the Dark Forces 1 and 2, which if you've ever played Doom, it's basically Doom Star Wars. Okay, so you get your first-person shooter Doom game. Rogue Squadron is so good, man. Like all three of them are amazing. I think some of the best Star Wars games ever. You got Jedi Starfighter, not the greatest game ever, but still fun to play. Um, you got the Jedi Knight series, which is that balance between third person and first person. Knights of the Republic, turn based. You had the pod racing game, you got your racing game, and then you also had Star Wars Clone Wars. I don't know if you've ever seen that game.
I
That
had
game
that
was
on the original Xbox.
that game was so much fun to play split screen with a buddy, and the story was kind of weird the way they handled Anakin and everything. But it was still a really fun game. It's just a ships and tanks game, I guess. Um, but yeah, we had a variety, and then you had the Jango Fett game too. It's like you had all these different games that like kind of like get a Star Wars game in every genre, and I feel like that was Lucas at the time. Lucas Arts, that was their goal. It's like let's get a Star Wars game in every video game genre, and they kind of did that, and they did it really well. Not all of them are amazing, but like they don't all have to be amazing when you have all these different flavors.
Yeah, and I think that was just when people really enjoyed making games.
I agree.
That's at least what it
I
felt
agree.
like. Those games all felt like passion projects,
Like
and
remember the first Force Unleashed game? Do you remember how many DLC skins or hidden skins were in that game?
only because I
And
played
some,
it recently. Yeah,
dude, then some of them are so obscure, but they're like you can tell people cared about this game because they're going after like legends and lore characters that like nobody's even heard of before. Um, but the Force Unleashed, that's another one too. Like I think the first one's amazing. Second one, not a fan of. Um, I don't know what happened. I think they outsourced that game, but yeah, that game just didn't play as well as the first, and the story was not as good as the first either.
you could say the same thing
In my opinion.
about Knights of the Old Republic too, though.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of diehards that like the second one more than the first.
I didn't particularly care for the second one.
Did you play
Um,
the full version or the release version?
the full.
Okay. Um, I think mechanics wise, the second one is superior mechanics wise because there's a lot of things in the first one that are kind of hindering that the second does not have.
Like,
Um, but in terms of like, I just think people gravitate to the first one a lot. Or people that gravitate to the first one versus the second one, I think is because their attachment to the characters, personally.
yeah, that's what I think. I just think the characters, even the side characters, especially that you hang out with in your
Yeah.
party, I think they're just so much more superior. I went
Oh
through.
no, I agree. I agree. But gameplay wise, like I do think the second one is an upgrade for sure.
Well, sure. Like at the end of the day, though, gameplay to me is not the be all end all in an RPG. Um, but when I'm sitting there for an entire game flirting with Atten and he never makes a move or hits on me, like
Adam's better than Karth.
that makes me feel ugly.
Yeah.
And
Atten Rand.
I don't know if anyone could be worse than Karth, so that's not saying much.
Yeah. Actually, there is somebody worse than Karth in oh gosh, I forget his name. Um, but in the Old Republic MMO, the Imperial Agent storyline, um, your is it the Imperial? Oh wait, hang on, am I getting it wrong? Actually, I don't remember what the storyline is. I don't know if it's the Imperial Agent or the Sith Inquisitor, but you have an Imperial like ISB, or ISB, but like Sith equivalent of ISB with you. He's the worst. He is. I forget his name. I'll have to look it up later, but no, he is. He's the worst of the worst. 100%. I forget the companion's name, but
I think I know who you're talking about.
white lanky dude, slick back hair. He almost looks like Supervisor Hiet from Andor season 2.
Agent Quinn.
Yes, Quinn. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
sucks.
like Karth on steroids, dude. The worst.
I hated a lot of those, man. Like Lieutenant Pierce, I didn't want him on my ship. Brunemark, what are we doing? Get off my ship. But no, I just think that he was a silly man. When you played The Force Unleashed for the first time, did that not just feel like so sick though? That game, I feel like to this day still feels so awesome.
It did what Star Wars and Disney do now is it was answering questions in that big black hole, which is the time period between episode 3 and 4. It's like we didn't have Andor, we didn't have Rebels, we didn't have all these things where this was like when that came out, we're like venturing in like brand new territory for Star Wars. Like we don't know which Jedi survived, if any survived, and this will explain like kind of what happened to all. I don't really like how he helped start the rebellion. I think that's just it's a little bit too much on the nose in my opinion. But just the whole idea that Vader was planning to kill the Emperor before he even knew about Luke is like crazy to me.
Oh, thematically it makes sense, but I just felt it was very like game. You brought up gameplay, that's why I brought that game up, because story wise, like, doesn't really matter, does it? Because it is one of those type of games where it's all for nothing. Like none of that matters in the grand scheme of things. But I know you haven't played the Jedi Fallen Order or Jedi Survivor games, and that really.
I played Fallen Order. I love Fallen Order. What are you talking about?
You haven't played Survivor though, and man,
I'm
like
playing Survivor right now. I'm like halfway through it. I think I'm halfway through it.
What planet are you on?
I don't know. I keep going back to Kobo, man.
It's just the best Star Wars game ever made. It's so good. It's so good. You haven't played it yet.
I just said I'm in the middle of it, and I played the first one.
I know you haven't played it yet, though, so you can't disagree.
Wait! I haven't played it yet. I'm in the middle of it. Is my mic not working?
You've got to play it. Like you have to complete it.
But my impression of the game is not going to change. Like the gameplay mechanics are there. I played the entire first one. Like it's not like all of a sudden my lightsaber and my force abilities are going to be swapped out with a battle axe and a bow and arrow. It's like I understand the principle, I understand the foundation of the game. All I'm going to do is unlock more of the story and side quests. Like I got the bare bones of the game at this point. Like I don't think it's the best. I mean, it's your opinion, you're entitled to have it, but it is my opinion far from the best Star Wars game ever made. I think you have to remember too is it's EA that is making it, and the thing with EA, especially the last like decade, I would say decade and a half. I didn't realize we're 2025 now. Last decade and a half, they are a very big story-driven company.
That's what we're talking about.
I think that's what we do lack. Yeah, but when it comes to a game, in my opinion, if it's not fun, I'm not gonna play it. I don't care how much I love the characters, like, I'm not gonna play it.
Game's fun as fuck.
Okay, but I don't think it's... I would not put it in the top 5 Star Wars games of all time.
What's better than it?
I think Jedi Knight Academy is a better game than that.
Really?
I think so, because you have to understand is like... A lot of the games that are made today are almost all the same. A lot of them just...
Dog, I'm not even talking about the games. I'm just talking about the story of it. What it means to the Star Wars.
I don't like the story. Oh, I don't like the story in the second one.
Really?
Well,
you
I
haven't.
do not like the Survivor story.
You haven't seen it though. so it's okay.
No, but I've seen it. I've seen all of it. Like I've seen the whole thing online. I've watched people do playthroughs. I've watched like 2, 3 playthroughs. I just haven't experienced it myself. I don't like the story of the second one. I don't know. I don't know what happened, but like the writing just fell off, in my opinion. The first one I think is great. I think the first one is phenomenal. I would consider putting the first one in one of the top 5 Star Wars games of all time, but the second one for story, no, not even close.
Dog, no. Once you experience it, you'll be singing a different tune. Because I thought the same thing, and then I went back and replayed it, and I was like, wow.
But the thing, I already know what
Wow.
happens. I already know what happens, and I'm playing it, and it still doesn't change my mind.
I
I
know, but
still
it's just different when it's you on the sticks as opposed to watching somebody. When it's you that's been through the entire story, as opposed to just watching it, it's a little different.
I don't think so. I mean, I'm playing it on the hardest difficulty, and I'm flying through the game. So it's just
It
like
has nothing to do with the difficulty or the gameplay. It's just the
sure it does.
story of it.
It affects your experience.
If you let it.
But I don't care for like half the characters. I don't like what they do with Cal.
What they do with Cal?
I mean, he's way different than he was in the first. I mean, like, again, you know, I'm not gonna probably get you to agree with me on any of these points, but like, I just
It's not about agreeing.
think
We're just talking, dog.
I don't think the second one is as good as the first. I really think the first one was like a solid 9, maybe an 8.5 on like on a low note. But story wise, Survivor, I mean, it's like a 6, maybe a 6.5 for me. Like I'm not a fan of this. I don't like the villain. The lack of Inquisitors, I think, is a huge problem for me.
Hey, you know, just let us know when you finish it, man.
I mean, hopefully I can finish the story tonight, because I kind of just want to finish the story and do the side quests. I'm having more fun doing the side quests than the main story, personally. I think the side quests they're fun. Some of them are kind of goofy, but the main story is just like I want to finish it just to finish it. Like I really just it's whatever.
I think it's one of the best games they've ever made. And I would say KOTOR #1 is the only thing that could have any sort of
KOTOR
discussion.
1, KOTOR 2, Jedi Knight Outcast, Jedi Knight Outcast. Okay, this is a hot take because Academy, I think, has better gameplay than Outcast, but Outcast has a far superior story than Academy. I think Jedi Outcast, like, that is a game. If I can take any game from like this time period, episode 3 and 4 ish, or episode, like modern, original trilogy, to convert from a game to a like a show, it'd be Jedi Outcast. Jedi Outcast is the story is so dang cool, man. It is so cool. Villains are interesting. Heroes are interesting. The locations they go to are super awesome. Like, just. Man, yeah, Jedi Out. Like, did you ever play Outcast, or you only did Academy?
I'm playing what? Let me see what I'm playing. I'm playing one of them at the moment.
Well, Outcast you only play as Kyle. Academy you play as Jaden.
I gotta see which one I'm playing though, because I know that there's 2 before it, but the gameplay just looked absolutely abysmal.
Dark Forces is the Doom one. That's the one they just remastered.
I'm playing Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast.
Yeah, that's the one. That one is awesome.
I must be very early on in the game though, because it's pretty boring IMO.
Yes, it is a slow start in the beginning. 100%, but by the end of the game, dude, it's so sick.
See, and that's what I think about Survivor. I think Survivor's just unbelievable. And I think that
visually, I think it's
nothing
cool.
nothing to do with visuals at all. Just pure story. I think it's just unreal how much they get from, I don't know what the time period is. They
My
get so
biggest
much
one,
from it.
my biggest issues with the story is like I don't like the villain at all. Like Dagon, it's weird. And I don't know if it's because and they did make this game, um, years ago when they're trying to make a lot, inject a lot of politics into their games, and EA is known for doing that, right? Like they don't shy away from that, but like. And it bugs me so much because we're in a Star Wars universe where like people can replace their limbs. Like, why does he only have one arm? And I know at the end of the game he gets that force projection arm. That is kind of cool, but I'm just like, what is this? Like I don't know. It just and they did it on purpose because they're trying to do that whole DEI stuff, and it's just like. I get it, but it's just like we're in a Star Wars universe. Like, give him a robot arm. I think he would look even sick, like even more sick with a robot arm.
Ain't no way we're stretching that.
That's just a small
That is a
thing, but there's other things
Bikram's
too.
yoga stretch, dog. There's no way you're
The
calling that
whole
DEI. There's no
yeah,
way.
the way they handle the Gendai thing too, like not even, and you haven't even seen because you haven't seen the original Clone Wars yet, right? Like the Cartoon Network one,
No, I'm good on that.
dude. You're never gonna watch it?
No, there's no point.
It's amazing, man.
But it's not real.
No, some of it is.
None of it
They
is.
kept bits and pieces. Yeah, some of it is. The characters, a lot of the characters are that they have in that are making it into the comics for canon. But, anyways, when they introduce you to Dirge in Clone Wars and Cartoon Network, dude, as a kid when you're watching that, your first question is, can he be killed? Like he is so just don't care about your lightsaber, Obi-Wan, don't care about the Force, don't care about the clones shooting. Like he is indestructible. And like I said, and the way they kill him is they have to throw him into a sun. Like Anakin literally throws him into a star to kill him because it's just not possible. And like
And I'm
when
glad
you
that
find,
that shit is Legends.
well, he's in the Bounty Hunter comics now, which is kind of cool. But yeah, no, I don't know. Like I said, I'm just not a. It was a solid effort, in my opinion, story wise. Because honestly, I do think they did have a tough assignment on where they're supposed to go with the story. I do like how they break everybody up and kind of get everyone back together for a small reunion, but just wasn't my cup of tea. Just not really. Like I'm sure they're gonna do a better job with the third one.
I think it's
Most
just a
games, most
perspective thing, man, because I mean, you're talking about Dagon Gera as the main villain. He's nowhere near the main villain.
well, where I'm at the story right now, I'm not even saying Cal's the main villain. Before I know Bode turns bad and all that, like I get that, but as a villain in the first and second act, like just not a good villain. I really don't. I don't. I don't like. I don't like him. I don't like him. I don't like the whole. The Bedlam Raiders, I think, is a cool idea, but like story wise, like I just don't care. I really don't care for it.
Really? You don't like Dagon's story?
Nope. I think it's a bunch of weak sauce that's 2 weeks old.
Man, that is interesting. That's very interesting. I always saw Dagon as one of the more relatable villains, if you want to call him a villain. Man, yeah, when he put all that work in and he got the
Dude, I
presentation looking right, he gave a
the
great
only
speech,
thing that
and
can get me to like the game better is if there was a way I can skip the cutscenes with my controller. Because anytime he shows up, I'm gonna go refill my water bottle, or I'm gonna go put my laundry out of the washing machine, put it in the dryer because I'm just so bored with him. And his. I mean, I tried giving it a chance, but I'm just like, oh, I'm like this guy again. I'm just like,
That's crazy. That's a take and a half.
I'm more interested in Turgle than I am with Dagon. That's only because I think Turgle's one of the better voice. Well, he's a voice actor that I kind of grew up with, so I think it's funny to hear him in a Star Wars game, hear his voice.
Well, we love you, Dagon. We love you, Dagon. I think you're
Yep.
cool, man. Been there. Been there. Christ. But I think it's solid. I can't wait for the third installment of the game because I think
2027.
they've done two amazing games so far. And Cal, man, just Jesus Christ, this guy
We gotta hurry up because they're
just
not
been
putting him
through
in
it.
the shows. They're not putting him in the shows until they're done with his games. That's what I heard. So, we'll see.
No matter what, either or, he's just whew,
He's cool. I like him.
fucking
I
awesome.
like cool character.
Love him. Love him. Love the games. Can't wait. Shout out to EA, bro.
Like I said, I only bought it because it was on sale for May the 5th, and I think I got it for like $13, and I'm like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. I'll give it a shot for $13.
Yeah, honestly, for my money, man, I don't think that there's ever been a story game with two consecutive games that good. I don't think there has.
For me, it's got to be KOTOR. KOTOR 1 and 2.
I just couldn't get behind the story for KOTOR.
2 for 1 or 2 or the whole
2.
thing. So I understand 2 because so when 2 first came out, I was the same way. I was super like, oh, this like because it's like all these new characters. They're not as good as the first set of characters. They're not as interesting as the first set. And I still think that to this day. I could not. If you asked me to name every companion in KOTOR 1, I could name them right now. 2, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be missing like at least half of them. But I think the events and the world building and the universe that we get in KOTOR 2 is what drives that game so much. And then that allowed them to make the MMO, which the MMO, I mean, you could say just about everything you want about it. Love it, hate it. It's awesome, it's bad, but like it's just a bottomless pit. It's just a bottomless.
I think it's a really cool idea. I just don't like that kind of game. I'd
Yeah,
rather
no, I
use
get you.
a game with a controller and controls and moves and stuff, you know?
Yeah, I totally understand that. That's just definitely people's preference with certain types of gameplay, but story wise, lore building wise, the older. I mean, if it wasn't for the Old Republic, I probably would have given up on Star Wars like decades ago. Like honestly, like after Episode 3, when we had nothing, the Old Republic resuscitated my love for Star Wars, and it's probably my core love for Star Wars because of just how much there is in there and how much time I invested in the Old Republic, and just the fact that Disney isn't touching any of that stuff either. And the cool thing is like it doesn't matter if it's canon or not canon. I got to experience all those things as they were being released. I got to meet friends, part of guilds, stay up like 3 or 4 in the morning doing raid bosses and doing all sorts of fun stuff, and just it was such a great experience for me. So it's like,
I think
I mean, they'll never
people
top that.
like you said something right there, and like I think people kind of forget what canon and legends means. Like it something being legends doesn't vehemently mean that it does not exist. It just means it's a tale, it's a legend, it's a rumor, it's a myth,
Yeah,
especially
so
in the terms of Star Wars. Like, so people are in the universe of Star Wars, which is where I always like to talk about, is like people are talking about the stuff that happened in SWTOR.
I mean, to me, it doesn't matter. I don't care what the label is. It's irrelevant in my opinion because like it's not like this is something that happened, in between Andor and Rogue One in such a tight, window. It's like this is something that happened so long ago. It has almost zero effect on anything that we're consuming now by Disney. So to me, it's like I mean, this is going to sound really dumb to say, but like to me, the Old Republic is like Disney free Star Wars. And then we have our normal Star Wars, and they're two separate brands, and they're two separate Star Warses. You have your decaf and your non-decaf, um, but because they're so separated, they're so separated on the timeline. They're so separated, like the way they do their world building and the story, the characters, the planets. Everything is so different about it. Um, but that's what to me. I've never cared whether it's canon, legends, like non-canon. Doesn't matter. It's not relevant at all.
I don't think it does either. I think, especially with an IP like this, no one's putting a gun to your head about it. And the only thing I will say is there are some things that I'm glad aren't considered canon because of how goofy and silly that they are. And there's nothing wrong with things being goofy and silly, but I think there is something wrong with taking something and stretching it and making a very silly story out of it, because I just think that's kind of fucked up. It's kind of taking something that's cherished and liked by people, adding your own personal taste just to get your own kicks off. No one really asked for that. That's just some Ryan Johnson behavior. I've never been down for that. That shit's weird.
Did you hear about the Darth Vader AI in Fortnite?
No.
I won't go into it too much, but they already removed it. So, James Earl Jones sold his rights to his voice to, be used with AI.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars, Fortnite's been doing like a Star Wars collab all month, and I guess there was like Darth Vader's on. I've never played Fortnite, so I'm not too familiar with the way the game's played, but Darth Vader's there, and they have an AI voice chat with a Darth Vader filter from James Earl Jones that you get to talk with, and it's a setting. Well, anyways, they took it offline because just like every single AI bot that's ever been made, it got super racist and super sexist. And everyone thought it was super funny because it's Darth Vader saying all these things. Anyways, I was listening to a lot of clips earlier, and I thought it was really interesting, just kind of, funny just to hear Vader say all these different negative slurs and everything. But there was one thing he said that I thought was hilarious, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, everyone's on board with this one. Somebody went up to Darth Vader and they're like, Darth Vader, what's your favorite Star Wars trilogy? And I'm going to butcher the quote, but the Darth Vader AI was responding with, obviously, it's the original trilogy because it shows the Empire's might. Like, it went all into detail, right? And then he talked about the prequels, talked about, the uprising of the Empire, like, pretty much pro-Empire, because it's Darth Vader. It makes sense, right? The AI bot knows what it's doing. And then he said, and the sequels don't exist. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. Even an AI bot is just like not having it with the sequels.
Man, you grifters are so fun.
It's funny, man. I thought it was hilarious.
So did you finish your Andor season 1 watch? I know you were doing that.
I did.
Thoughts?
Better than I remember it, but still not as good as everyone says.
Good, because everyone said that it sucked. So that's good.
Yeah, no, I think the pacing is terrible the way they released it.
No, don't worry about that. Just worry about the story of it. Did you like the story?
Oh, story-wise?
Yes, nothing else matters except the story, dog.
Well, the pacing affects the story, like how I'm being consumed, like how I'm digesting it and being able to process everything. I think there's about a third of it can be cut out. I think there was a lot of scenes and a lot of like little side things here and there that I completely forgot about, and I was like, this had no effect on season 1 or season 2, and I was like, could have been completely cut out.
Could have been.
So I would say 2/3 of it is solid for sure.
What was
And
the
then
other
season
third detriment? Or
I think the flashbacks of him being a kid, um, just because like the whole show is not a flashback, but the whole show is supposed to be his backstory, and like I just felt like I don't know, it just didn't do anything. I don't think it added to the story. I mean, the story starts with him looking for his sister, and I feel like that whole plot that we never get conclusion to, that can be removed. I think that can be removed entirely.
what
Like,
plot?
I'm sorry, you got out what?
What plot?
Him looking for his sister.
Well, it did get cut off.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. That's you asked me what parts of season 1 I wasn't like a fan of. I thought can be cut out, and I was like, that's one of them for sure.
Well, it's kind of tough. That's what his goal was. It was to find his sister, but then he murdered 2 guys.
Yeah, it was his goal for like 5 minutes. And then also was trying to look for her later on too in a couple other episodes I totally forgot about. I was like, oh, he's still on about this. What else? I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of characters that got way too much screen time. I think Bix could be cut down a little bit. There was a lot of stuff that she was doing that really just did not matter. I wish we saw Luthen a little bit more. I thought Luthen was in the show a lot more than I remember, but it's not. In my opinion, I was like, oh damn.
Yeah, fuck, sick show, man. And I'm putting out a video talking about where Star Wars really goes from here, because this is kind of like, this is a very high peak for them. Maybe it's, just a big peak from where they've been, but I feel like at the moment,
Definitely peak for where they've been.
they've not been higher in a very long time.
Nope.
Where do you think from here would be a good direction to turn?
Downwards. We're not going to top the show. That's just the reality of it.
It has nothing to do with that,
not...
but just like, what's your first step?
It depends, because I know Disney's going through some changes and a lot. They're still finishing up a lot of projects that they planned 5-6 years ago. So, and that's not just with Star Wars. That's with some of their other IPs. I'm not sure what direction they're going to go with Star Wars. I definitely think there's a shift in the company in terms of like what they think people want versus what they know they want.
Well, this is the paradigm for it. This is the awakening for it. This shows what people want. This shows what your demographic is.
Well, unfortunately, people still aren't on board with the show because, again, it is a good show, but it's like, I just don't know, I don't know how they get back. I don't know how they go back to Mandalorian season 1 and season 2 success, because in my opinion, Mandalorian season 1 and 2 are more successful than Andor season 2. I'm not saying they're better. I'm just saying they're more successful based off of viewership and how much money they generated. And again, that's kind of like the unsung curse of Star Wars, is like their best projects are the ones that don't get recognized financially. But I don't know where they go with this. Like I said, I've been begging for them to do a pod racing show, or swoop bike show. I mean, Star Wars animation, I think, is the only thing I have faith in. Their animation department, story-wise, I think is like the only path they have right now to consistent success. Live action, I have no idea where they go with this. I really don't. I don't know what they do next. I mean, we got Ahsoka season 2. Book of Boba season 2 is not happening. Mando season 4. I'm not gonna watch Mando season 4. Um, Ahsoka season 2. I'll watch it. You know, but I don't know. I think they just kind of. I really want them to get past the whole Mando stuff. I feel like we're just kind of like locked in for this, and I'm not saying I want to move on because I think it's bad. I just want to move on because I think it's taking way longer than anyone thought it was going to.
Interesting. Yeah, I think Andor is going to really put up some really nice numbers, because I know you're a numbers guy, but I think Andor's a lot bigger than you think it is. But I really enjoyed it. I think the story was perfect, and from here I just think that they go towards that sort of style of content, and if it needs to be as gripping and edgy as this was compared to what has came before it, feel free because I think that people are growing up a little bit, and I think they're realizing that, and I think that this is helping them realize it. Any final thoughts on the Andorks, on any of the stuffs before we wrap it up?
No, I was glad Disney finally got a win with Star Wars. You know, they were kind of overdue for one, but like I said, just want them to get through the Mando stuff. Just kind of want them to get rid of that whole universe. Not really get rid of it, but I want to see or know what's the next project. I want to see what's next. Just because this is taking a lot longer than. Because when's the movie come out? Next year, 2 years?
Comes out May 22nd, 2026.
2026, and then we have Heir to the Empire still, which is like what? How long is that? Because Ahsoka season 2 is 2026, potentially 2027.
Probably 2027.
So the Heir to the Empire film's probably not going to be till the following year.
If that.
If that, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's taken a minute to get through this whole, you know, Thanos Infinity War style type of a show, or you know, outline, I should say. We'll see what's next, but I agree with you with your point. Like the shows don't have to be this tone of Star Wars, but like,
just do me a favor where we're at, and just let's not do a Taika Waititi movie.
No, exactly. No. I mean, well, I think he's still on board for one, though.
Let's
That's
not,
the problem.
sure, but let's not do a Rey New Jedi Order movie until we really figure out what we want to do with the series. Let's hold off.
I mean, like I said, like, it's Star Wars. You can do almost anything with it. I just don't like how Disney is so, like, you know how, like, they got rid of Lucas and they're like, we don't need him? I feel like Disney is like this drowning, or kid not drowning, but it's kind of dark. Person struggling in the pool, and Lucas is like this. They're floaties, and they're like, we don't need you, and there's like drowning, and now they're looking for their floaties again. It's like there's so many other things you can do, but I feel like they're so reluctant on having everything tied to episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like the Acolyte, and this might be the only thing I might ever say positive about the Acolyte, because I'll never say anything positive about the show.
Because you didn't watch it.
I'm never gonna watch it, dude. That thing's, I know it's garbage. Right. I'm not gonna give it a chance. It doesn't exist to me. But it's as far away from the original and prequel trilogy that they've been. And I'm not saying I would like them to do Old Republic, because I really want them to, you know, get their shit together before they do Old Republic stuff. But it's like, it's Star Wars. You can do anything you want. And then there's that one show they did, which was what? Skeleton Crew, which wasn't connected or anything, so it does fall into what I'm talking about. The show is just not that great. So they're not there yet. Like, nobody watched Skeleton Crew. It's just not a...
I think it doesn't matter what the show's about, as long as it's a good, well-made, well-written show.
Agreed. But and Skeleton Crew is not. In my
And
opinion, it really is
that
not.
that entails you got to know who you're writing for, and I think they know now because of Andor who they should be creating for, and I think they have a much better idea. I'm sure they have a bunch of analysts that are being
I think
like,
it's going
"Hey,
to take more than one show for them to understand who they're writing for, though. That's all I'm saying.
no, well, this is now the second season of it." I think they had a pretty good idea when they invested how much they did into this. This is the most invested project they've done. And it's the best project they've
Um,
done.
I don't know about invested. I don't know the numbers for Andor season 2,
A
but
lot. $250 million.
wasn't Acolyte 300?
Couldn't tell you. But this is a grand total of like 500 million for
Pretty
24
sure it was like
episodes.
320 or 340 if I remember, but
Couldn't tell you.
we'll see. I mean, it's again, we'll see. I don't think Andor raised my confidence in Disney. I enjoyed the heck out of season 2, but you know, kind of hard to be positive. Um,
Yeah, it's like Mike Trout returning. Like, is he
yeah,
really?
no, exactly. It's like, yeah, he could hit a bunch of home runs back to back to back, but it's just like you always have that fear in the back of your mind, like, okay, when does he? What is this his last game for
Right.
the season?
Is he gonna get hurt
Yeah.
here? Oh, there he is. 60-day IL. Sick.
Yeah, but that's why I always go back to the Old Republic. When I get my lowest points for Star Wars, feeling depressed or just not happy with it, I always go to the Old Republic, and it's like my Disney free zone, and there's something for everybody in the Old Republic. It's just I don't know a single person that knows everything about it because that's just how big it is.
It's true. It's true. Well, if any of you do, let us know in the comment section below. Let us know what you want us to talk about next week, and we will catch you then for SoTeeko and Banjeel. This is the Archives Podcast. We'll catch you later.